This episode of the Beauty Industry podcast was brought to you by One Spa World. Do what you love, travel the world, and rapidly advance your career at the same time. Hello and welcome to the Beauty Industry podcast, your online support community for the professional beauty industry. I am your host, founding director of Beauty Industry, Tamara Shaw. Here we are closing the competitive gap and speaking your language. This is a platform created and dedicated to the professional beauty industry, valuing community over competition. We serve to help connect you with inspiration from industry experts, expand your knowledge through educational pieces, and bring you the latest in product and technology innovation. This is Beauty Industry. My guest today is Caryna Khan, a beauty therapist by trade, a cosmetic chemist, and the founder of Private Label Skincare. Private label skincare is currently hitting the industry like no other as beauty business owners take control of the product market by creating a range and putting their brand to the formulation. Caryna and I chat today about the process of private labeling, her career journey through cruise ships, and ultimately being a beauty business owner and a go-getter that we can all aspire to be. From Private Label Skincare, today we welcome Caryna Khan. Caryna, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Tamara.
It is my absolute pleasure. I wanted to chat with you today after seeing your brand quite recently actually, and its beautiful aesthetic, all about private labeling. But I'd love to go back to the start of your career because you are a beauty therapist by trade, and so I'm wondering what made you enter into the beauty industry.
So I think that, as a kid, I was always obsessed with facials and skincare. I was like 10, 11 years old when I started making face masks out of kitchen ingredients. It just was an instinct for me. I purchased a lot of sort of DIY books as a kid to learn how to make up different skincare products. So it was just something that I was lucky enough to know really early on that that's what I wanted to do. I know I have a lot of friends that kind of are still in their 30s and don't know what they want to do, but that definitely wasn't the case with me. It was just something that just naturally came to me. So I left school quite early to study beauty therapy because I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I loved it. I did it for quite a number of years. I went straight from studying beauty therapy to working on cruise ships. So I did that for 4 years, working on 6 different ships, six different contracts on 4 different ships. So, it was a great experience and, one that, I thoroughly enjoyed.
Fantastic. And so you said that you've had that kind of love and need and really want for the beauty industry since you were quite little. It's such a special feeling. When you got into beauty school then, did you think that that was actually going to be something that, you would still be in, 20 years down the track?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my goals and plans have changed slightly. I knew I always wanted my own skincare brand. So that was definitely something that was quite high up on my list of things to do when I started. I always did want my own retreat. That's since changed. I go on a lot of retreats now, but I don't necessarily have one, or that's definitely not something that's going to happen in the near future. But so things do change. But definitely having my own skincare brand and staying in the skincare industry was always a long-term goal. Things do change over time, but it's just something that I've always stayed, passionate about. So, I think that as a beauty therapist, I think you do have, somewhat of a shelf life on that career. Just, I did a lot of massage, especially on the cruise ships. We do 100-hour week. So I knew that physically I wasn't going to be able to do that forever, but definitely staying within that industry is something that I will be doing for a very long time.
Incredible. And I can relate to you there, coming from the cruise ship background myself. You've obviously done a lot more contracts than I did one, you did 6. So good on you. You stuck it out.
It's a bit of an addiction. Every time I was like, never again. But the travel got me. So yes, I got to see a lot, which was really great. But yeah, it was hard work. So I can see why a lot of people only do one, because it's very difficult, that's for sure.
It's such a different lifestyle as well. You have countries instead of weekdays, and you live at your work, and your family becomes your work colleagues, and it's the most special kind of experience that you can really have in a work capacity.
Definitely.
And I'm so thankful, for the beauty industry for giving us something like that, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I still, I'm friends with some of the girls that I, shared my cabin with and stuff like that over those years. And I mean, that's, 20, almost 20 years ago. So it's, they're definitely lifelong friends and memories that, just completely different to anything else that you can experience, that's for sure.
We will be back with more conversation from Caryna after this short break from our sponsors. And in saying that, this episode's sponsor is quite fitting, as we have just been telling you how wonderful they are on our own merit. Imagine working for the leading spa operator on board luxury cruise ships. Well, One Spa World operates day spas on over 160 luxury cruise ships which sail the 7 seas. So if you're a passionate beauty therapist who is looking for more excitement in your everyday life, then you are in luck, because One Spa World are now recruiting. Do what you love, travel the world, and rapidly advance your career all at the same time. To see if you've got what it takes to work on board, download your free Career at Sea information pack from realseachange.com. That's real, SEA, change.com. Thank you so much to One Spa World for making this episode possible. And now back to Caryna. You then wanted your own skincare range. Where did the formulation and further study come into your timeline?
So basically, I did some cosmetic chemistry when I did my diploma in beauty therapy, but it was actually after falling pregnant with my first son. I have 3 now. So when I was pregnant with him, I remember it vividly, actually going into the supermarket and picking up a Huggies baby wash, getting ready for him to be born, and realizing that it was full of crap. I remember reading, sodium oral sulfate and parabens and things like that, and I just couldn't get my head around why they were in baby products. It made absolutely no sense to me at the time. And I'm like, well, I know enough about ingredients at that point to know that that's not right. So I started making his products, and I was working at a day spa back in country Victoria, where I grew up at the time, and my friend was the manager at the spa, and she's like, oh, would you be interested in creating a line for us? So that's kind of how it all started. So we were given a 3-month timeline to get a full range of face and body products ready for this day spa. So as you can imagine, there was a lot of sleepless nights formulating away. I'd already started the process of becoming qualified and all that sort of stuff in cosmetic formulations, but that was a real kick to get that up and running. And that was my first kind of contract, I suppose you'd say. And that went really well. And once I had the products in that spa, I was able to sort of start getting it into other salons and selling online. And it just kind of progressed from there. So that's how I kind of started. It was sort of half an accident, but I mean, it would have happened eventually. It just, got happened a little bit quicker than I expected.
Good timing. Yeah, amazing. And so I'm wondering then, probably since that first line rather, that you created to what you're actually working with now in terms of the formulation might be quite different. Do you have any advice for people who are wanting to perhaps start their own formulation? Where do they even do that?
So Oh, look, it's a lot of hard work. I think the first thing, is loads of research, and there's a lot involved in creating your own products. So yeah, lots of study, and there's different places that you can start, like New Directions and that kind of thing, as far as sourcing the ingredients and doing some basic training and that sort of thing. But I think for me that um, it was so challenging every sort of step of the way, because there's just constant things that you need to learn and do, and stay on top of everything. So yeah, it was definitely a full-time job. Like, I couldn't do that and continue working as a beauty therapist, which I did at the start. So in the end, yeah, I gave up that to continue on with my products. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great place to be in, and to be in that industry. But yeah, there's a lot of hard work behind the scenes getting that experience up, I suppose you'd say. So yeah, and obviously different formulas require different skills. Some are easier than others, but yeah, lots and lots of practice.
Amazing. And so tell us about your baby now and what you're doing at Private Label.
Yep. So yeah, so basically, yeah, so I'd started my own brand. So that was oh, okay. So my son's 10 now, almost 11. So yeah, almost 11 years ago. And then 6.5 years ago now, I think it is, that I decided to start doing private labeling. Basically, with my brand of skincare at the time, it was just I struggled a lot to grow and to expand and to be able to sort of scale the business on my own, making all the products. So I had trouble with dealing with manufacturers and stuff like that to take over some of my formulations to free up some time. And in that process of that sort of struggle, I guess you'd say, I decided to sort of change my course and sell off my own brand and start doing private labeling, so that I could help small businesses like myself at the time create their own brand of skincare without hearing no all the time from manufacturers, because they're too small, essentially. So that kind of started why I'm doing what I'm doing now. Was basically why it was so hard for me. So I thought, I'm going to make something a bit easier for other people. Especially, I was dealing with a lot of salons at the time. A lot of my friends were therapists and business owners and that of their own salons, and they were struggling with, at the time, having a brand and an established brand and selling it, and building up that brand, and then they'd be selling it discounted on different websites, or that kind of thing. So I was like, oh, I want to be able to sort of offer a solution to that, to those people. So that's sort of how I started. I never really planned on it getting as big as it was. It was just sort of going to be something else that I was going to do. But we've got over 400 brands now. Probably about half of them are salons around Australia. So yeah, it's been a great decision, and we've been able to help a lot of people with with making their own brands. So yeah, it's been really great.
Incredible. And I always think the best ideas really come from when we have a need, and some people just want to make a business out of nothing. But I think when you actually have a need for something and you think, hang on, nobody else is doing this yet, or wouldn't it be fantastic if we could do this? That's really when kind of like the sparks fly and the business ideas are pretty phenomenal. I'm wondering if you can share with us, for people who don't know what private labeling is as a whole entity, a little bit more about that.
So basically, private labeling a skincare product allows you to have your own line of skincare, but without necessarily having to make and manufacture that product yourself. So we have a range of different products that are already formulated, tried and tested and bottled, ready to have your logo put on it. So that basically that frees you up. You still have your own brand that you can put your own spin on. Obviously, choose products that fit in with your ethics and branding and all that sort of stuff, but without all the other side of it, which is obviously, stability testing and formulating and sourcing ingredients and packaging and all the legal side of it, the legal label requirements and all those sorts of things. It's actually a really huge project. I don't think people fully understand until they start trying to do it themselves, just how big that project is. So it's basically, what we do is make it as easy as possible for people to have their own natural, ethical, Australian-made skincare products that fit in with their ethics, but without them having to physically do it themselves. So they would either, there's two ways they can do it, is basically creating and supplying their own label to us. We obviously help them do that. We give them all the information on how to do that. And then we just print and apply that label. Or we have starter packages where we take care of all of that, and we do all the photos for them and create the labels and, training manuals and all that sort of stuff, so that it's more of an all-inclusive solution. So yeah, so there's basically two ways of doing it, but in the end you end up with your own branded product that you can sell to your clients and use in treatments as well.
Fantastic. And I love how you've said there about, you don't really understand how deep making a product is until you kind of go down that pathway. I remember for a couple of years there, I was really strongly focused on trying to create a product label. And I just looking into the label itself was just so confusing. I mean, there are certain words, for example, I wanted to focus on just purely sensitive, reactive, sensitized skins, and you weren't allowed to say any of those words, and I thought, how am I going to market this to my demographic if I can't use the exact words that they will be typing into Google?
Yeah, and this is the thing, a lot of people don't understand, and unfortunately a lot of people do create products and they're not legally compliant, and then unfortunately they have all sorts of issues because they don't know. There's just they're constantly evolving and changing too, so you really need to sort of stay ahead and really be involved quite heavily in the industry if you're going to have your own brand, even if it is just a natural product. Because if someone has a reaction or something like that, then it's a big problem. So, and unfortunately even in my space, there's other not very ethical private label businesses and that. So you need to be so careful who you're dealing with and how you're going about doing it, whether it's yourself or hiring a manufacturer or a private label company. My advice is always just, do your research and I think, you get a bit of a gut instinct with certain things and whether or not they seem right or not. And that's, always my advice is to trust that. It's not, I love this industry, but unfortunately there's a lot of idiots in it, especially some of the blokes. Not that I have anything against them, but they are very it's very money focused, and it's just about making the cheapest products, and that really does show in the quality. And so it's just my advice is just to be aware of other businesses that are out there, and just do your research. If you are looking at doing your own brand, there's plenty of different options out there. So take that time and really get a good feel for the business before you go ahead and do anything.
That's great advice, and I so strongly agree with you that not everyone in this industry is here for the right reason. There are people just with bucket loads of money who, I mean, we've seen time and time again, will just specifically buy into the industry, buy a clinic, buy a product range because it's an easy purchase and they think that it's just going to sell and make them money. And sometimes it does. And it's really disheartening sometimes for the little guys who have been here, who've done all the hard yards, and then these big buckets come in and it's a bit disheartening.
It is, it's frustrating, especially when it is such a passion for some people, and some people, it is, it's just dollar signs and that's it. And it's it's a bit of a shame because it's such a great industry to be in, and so it's I think just try and stick to people that have the same sort of values, and that that love the industry as much as you guys do. I think that's the key, really.
Yeah, I love that. And so I'm wondering, a lot of clinics and salons have already existing products from large product houses. that, you know, it's easy to just sign up an opening order and they'll have the product delivered tomorrow with all of the marketing material, etc. I'm wondering, what are some of the benefits of private labeling your own skincare brand?
Yeah. So yeah, definitely I can see why a lot of people do that, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But the fact is that unfortunately with a lot of the bigger brands is that they are everywhere. So, you know, a lot of salons rely on that repeat purchase, you know, for and to get people onto the retail products and repurchase those products from them. But it's just too easy these days to order those products online, and unfortunately a lot of times they're even cheaper online than the salons get them for as well. So with private label, one of the main benefits is the fact that once they like that product and they're using that product, they can only purchase it from you. So you've obviously got that kind of loyalty and you know, that those purchases coming back to you, which is great, especially if you've got your own online store. Just make it super easy for them to be able to order the products. The other great thing is the profit margin. So with a lot of our products, you know, you're looking at sort of anywhere between sort of $13 and $16 for an active product that's labeled and branded that has, you know, like a $50 to $80 value, for example. So you've got that larger markup. So that it's worthwhile putting that bit of time and money into getting your marketing materials at the start, even though it might seem a little bit overwhelming. But if you do that, or if you do one of our starter packages and you get that information, then you're much better off putting that little bit of effort in at the start, because you'll get that return from the margins as well as the fact that you're going to get that repeat business as well. So, and also it's a professional, if you've got really great branding and, you know, you end up you know, having a label created through us, or, you know, you can create your own as well. That, you know, we've seen some beautiful labels lately come through from people designing them themselves. It's such a great you know, thing for someone to come in and see you with your own brand. It's very professional for a lot of people to see that in a salon. So, you know, there's loads of different benefits for having your own, but, you know, those are just some of the few ones that come to mind at the moment.
Yeah, I love that exclusivity point. You know, I think these days you're exactly right. You can get a lot of brands on a lot of places. The market is getting really saturated with beauty clinics and beauty salons and the rest of it. And I guess, you know, brands these days don't have that kind of geographical restriction like they used to. You know, you used to be the only salon in town with ABC brand, you know, and now they can pop up a store right next to you. So I really like that exclusivity point. You touch base there on the professional range, and I know people are probably yelling through their car radio, what about professional treatments? What kind of things can you offer from that aspect? I mean, can we take that private labeling into the professional treatment room?
Yes, so every single product that we have for retail is available in professional sizes as well. So we have 6 different ranges. So they're all slightly different. So we've got a superfood range, which includes obviously a superfood based ingredient. So wheatgrass, berries, rice protein. So that's a good all rounder for all skin types, especially kind of like polluted and dull skin types. Then we've got the enzyme range, which is really popular in salons. So that's using your fruit enzymes, so your papaya, your pineapple, lime, and orange. That's more suitable towards the sort of oily combination problematic skin types. We've also got the native range, which is infused with kakadu, plum, lily pilly, and quandong. And that is a good all-rounder, great for dehydrated skins. Then the botanical line we've not long launched, so that's for your really sort of sensitive, distressed skin type. So we're finding that more and more people are showing this skin type. This is a huge problem. So that particular range is infused with jacaranda, milk thistle, and banksia flower. So it's a very floral and lots of herbs and sort of repairing and that kind of thing. So all of those 4 ranges have all got a cleanser, toner, exfoliant, or an exfoliating mask, and a serum and moisturizer. Then we also have the essentials range, which can be added to any of those 4 brands. So that has like a cream-based exfoliant and a gel-based mask and things like that we don't have in the other products. So they can sort of be added into any of those. And then the best range, in my opinion, in most people's opinion, is the active range. So that's all your sort of treatment-based serum. So your hyaluronic acid serum, your encapsulated vitamin serums, and peptide creams, and all of that sort of stuff that you would use for those more mature skin types. So you can kind of mix and match between the ranges, but yeah, basically, well, the first thing would be to actually trial them and see what you guys like. But the actual each range has its own sort of unique ingredients and sort of scent and that kind of thing. So yeah, it just depends on what demographic the particular salon has, would determine which products are chosen. But yeah, there's a lot to choose from, and yeah, everything is available in the treatment sizes as well.
Fantastic. And I've been reading a little bit of research on a trend that's coming through called A Beauty. And we know of K Beauty, Korean beauty, but now A Beauty is actually Australian beauty, because so many international clients are just loving the feel and the results that all of our kind of botanicals, as you said, jacaranda, tea tree, all of these kind of things that are real kind of Aussie native plants. So I love that has that kind of running theme through there. And now we know that actually evidence is showing 7 out of 10 clients prefer an Australian-based product brand. So there you go. You can tick that off if you don't have an Australian-based product brand in your business. This is probably...
A lot of the Australian-owned professional brands are still manufactured overseas anyway. So, it's definitely, I know that's a huge thing for our clients, is that it's Australian-made. So, it's definitely as well, very, very important. And obviously, being vegan and, cruelty-free and all of that sort of thing, that's also very important to consumers these days. So, we're definitely, making sure that all of our products fit that criteria.
Perfect. And you mentioned there that a starting point would be to trial and to kind of feel each individual product and really decide, what you like. If I came into you tomorrow and I said that I wanted to create tomorrow's ABC skincare range, besides from kind of feeling the products, where would we go to next?
Yeah, so you'd order the sample pack and trial those, and then at that point you would sort of, you can either choose to purchase individual samples, or you can buy the full sample pack and then trial everything. So if you're doing that, then obviously narrowing down your range, you don't want to obviously have, 39 products in your range is a lot to start off with. So condensing that down and making notes as you try the products is the best approach, so that you can, say, no, I don't particularly like these products, or this isn't going to fit my clientele, and then once you've sort of got that collection, then you can either look at doing one of the packages, or doing your labels and supplying them to us to print.
So you have lots of information because you have had the beauty therapist trade experience, formulating skincare, and also running a business. And so now you're helping others to do so as well. Can you tell me more about the online course that I'm seeing lots of information across on all of our social media channels?
Yeah, so this has been something I've been wanting to do for a while, but like life gets in the way. I've got 3 kids, which I homeschool. So, so it was sort of something that had always been in the back of my mind, and then we just kept getting asked for the help outside of just having great products and all that sort of stuff. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get everything out of my head, all the things that I've learned, especially all the mistakes that I've made. I think those are probably more important than the things to do right in a lot of cases. and really just pull everything out and get it all down. So that's what I've been able to do with this course. So we've named it Skincare Success Simplified, which is exactly what it is. It's just getting rid of all the things that you don't need to know and just telling you the things that you do to be able to run a successful skincare brand. We've got 8 different modules in the course, and basically we take you through a number of different things, starting off with the mindset, and then we move into your branding and marketing and how to sell the products and all that sort of stuff, so that we're covering everything that's necessary for you to be able to not only start your own skincare brand, but to be able to grow a profitable skincare brand and one that's sustainable.
And so if we wanted to kind of find out more about private label, perhaps create our own range, or even jump on board and have a look at that course, where would we go to find more out about yourself and private label as a business?
Yep, so our website is just privatelabelskincare.com.au. We're also on Facebook, which is Private Label Skincare Oz, OZ, and then Instagram is just Private Label Skincare as well.
Fantastic. And I'll be sure to link in all of those links and Instagram and Facebook and every other social media that you're on into our show notes, and of course across all of our socials. So if you want to click through and find more out about Caryna and Private Label Skincare, you can do so when this episode goes live.